You've got just imagine a typical political cartoon drawing that would appear in a newspaper. You've got a giant crocodile with mouth open, and you've got two people basically holding the mouth open. They're standing inside the jaws of it's a crocodile.
Two everyday average normies?
Two everyday average Americans. They're basically holding this mouth of this crocodile open. And a van has pulled up, and on the back of the van it says Inflation Reduction Act. And on the back of the van, where the license plate would be, it says IRS. And the people say to the people getting out of the van, the everyday average Americans say to them, finally, help has arrived. And then the two people getting out of the van says, actually, we're here to audit you.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, things are going to get bad.
Yeah. So 87,000 new IRS agents.
Yeah.
And I've heard that they've been stockpiling some ammo.
Yeah, they've been stockpiling ammunition. And there's actually a short clip I can share. Maybe this will be a semi-regular thing on the show. But there's a short clip I can share where a gentleman is talking about some of the hiring requirements for those that are applying for a job with the IRS as a field agent there, as a field collector for the IRS. And so these are some of these new hiring needs or expectations.
So I'm sure by now we've all heard that the government is going to be hiring 86,000 IRS agents.
87.
And they actually just put out the guidelines for what to expect and what these IRS agents can do. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So here's a list right here. Let's take a look. Major duties: adhere to the highest standards of conduct, especially maintaining honesty and integrity. Work a minimum of 50 hours per week, which may include on-call 24/7. Maintain a level of fitness necessary to effectively respond to life-threatening situations on the job. These people are collecting.
Wow, that's a whole lot of hours.
That is a lot of hours.
Yeah.
And I mean, I thought IRS agents kind of sat in desks, sat in cubicles at desks, going over tax documents for individuals, families, or companies.
Yeah, expecting 50 hours of work. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But maybe we can just, maybe it won't be as bad as we think. We'll see.
I don't know. I mean...
FBI, open up!
Whoa! Oh, is it the FBI?
I don't know.
Oh, well, maybe not. Okay.
No. Well, maybe it's the IRS.
Maybe it's the IRS. Who knows? But anyway, continuing with some of those major duties of these new IRS agents.
Necessary to effectively respond to life-threatening situations on the job.
Oh, wait. Let me pull that back a little bit.
Week, which may
50 hours per week.
On-call 24/7. Maintain a level of fitness necessary to effectively respond to life-threatening situations on the job. These people are collecting taxes. Why do they need that? But hold on, it gets better.
Military fitness.
Carry a firearm and be willing to use deadly force if necessary.
Wow.
We're talking about taxes. And I'm not even going to read the last one because at this point, if it's not blatantly clear that the government's against you, then I can't help you any further. They're sitting here passing gun laws against us because we're the unsafe ones, but then we're going to go ahead and give guns to people who basically just collect money. That's what they do, but they are allowed to have guns and use deadly force if necessary.
Oh, boy. What a mess. Yeah, oh, it's a dark time.
It is.
I'm just not ready for it. It's going to be horrible.
It is. Well, we can all look forward to getting our doors busted down by an IRS agent who may or may not be a woman or a man, who they don't even know.
Excuse
actually.
me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.
Right, yeah, we won't even know.
And that kind of leads me into this other topic that I wanted to talk about is the...
Could be man, woman, Z.
It's ma'am.
Yeah, Z, Zer. I don't know. I kind of brings me to my next topic here, which I wanted to talk about a little bit today. If I could pull it up here in my notes. the queer theory and the abolition of normal.
It is no longer normal.
No. So
Right is wrong, up is down.
as we know, Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida passed a bill that keeps educators in schools from talking about anything sexual identity, sex acts, whatever it may be, until the third grade.
Right.
And it was called by the left the Don't Say Gay bill.
Right, which had nothing to do with
Nothing to do with it. It was just simply keeping
sexual talk
out of young ears. And I personally think it
Super
should have
young.
been. I think it should have been more than that. I think it should have been up to say 9th grade, maybe 12th. But I think they nipped it in the bud because it was down into the kindergarten level.
Yeah.
And I heard recently that there was some. I can't remember exactly where this happened, and I'll have to touch up on that. Maybe write some notes when I hear something interesting like that. But I was driving and I was just listening to a podcast myself, and they were talking about how some teachers were instituting a curriculum with very perverse tones or very perverse topics, including, and this is talking about how to put a condom on, what's your favorite sexual position,
Yep.
what does semen taste like, and do you want to know the age of the people that they were taught this?
First graders.
Yeah, about 7 years old.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, really?
Oh, boy.
And I exclaimed out loud, this is. I was just driving in my car, and as soon as I heard that last one, what does blank taste like?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you got to be kidding me! You have got to be kidding me!
Yeah. No, we're not. We're
And
not
sadly,
doing
not. Sadly, we're not. So, what is this doing? What is this whole thing? This whole queer theory, this queer agenda, this sexualization of children.
that. Oh, we can't say the G word.
No, we can't say the G word. So here's something funny too. So Dave Rubin of the Rubin Report, he met with Ron DeSantis, and they were having a chat. And this was a public debate, or not even a debate. It was just a public meeting. They were just having a discussion. It was in front of a couple hundred people. I think it was in an auditorium. Yeah. And they both sat down. And this is after the bill passed. And Dave Rubin sits down. He comes out, and Ron DeSantis comes out, and he sits down. And the first thing Dave Rubin does is he leans forward and he says, "Gay." He's like, "Oh, nothing happened." He's like, "Yeah."
yeah.
Because nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
But what do you think that this whole sexualization of children and just even the trans ideology, or not? It's not even like you can. There's kindergartners out there that are just pretending they're identifying as like a cat or something like that. But nobody's reinforcing because they come into school and they just behave like that because they're kids. But eventually they start to believe that, and the teachers aren't allowed to correct them. So if the child says, "I'm a cat," or "I'm something else," a wolf or whatever it may be, they're not allowed to correct them.
Yeah, I had an ex-girlfriend who, when she was a child, for I think well over a year, she pretended to be a cat. Really pretended to be a cat. Would only walk on fours at home, wore a cat tail when she was a young child. And obviously she was just pretending.
Right.
But her parents didn't go, "Oh no, maybe she's actually a cat."
Right.
Which is what parents are doing now.
I mean, I had 3 sisters growing up, and they were, 2 of them were really obsessed with horses. Mm-hmm. And, so when they were about, probably 8, 9, 10, somewhere around that area, they'd pretend to be horses. And they did that for a while. But, they grow out of it. But something's happened where they're being told to embrace what they are. And so young kids start hearing that, and they take it away. They run away with it. And then the same is true with transsexual, becoming a girl becoming a boy and a boy becoming a girl.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you think the whole reasoning behind this is? This is being injected, and not like it's being forcefully injected into children.
Yeah.
Kind of like the COVID-19 vaccine,
yeah.
quote unquote.
And it's so. I think part of this is that kids are the new frontier for them. So they, and we're talking about like the super radical left, that's kind of pushing this whole gay and transgender agenda. It really started with them seeking openness in society.
Mm-hmm.
They got that. That was enough. Then it went into academia. That wasn't enough. Then it proceeded to pop culture. That wasn't enough. And where can they go? They've already trained up generations and generations in academia for this thing to be an okay
Yeah,
thing.
whereas back in the 60s, it was several hundred professors that were probably, inside people from the USSR or, somewhere where, an ideology, they started to inject it into the university classroom. And all of a sudden now we've got, thousands of people that are just, spewing this rhetoric. But somehow, how did someone make it from, the classroom there and not say anything for what seemed like 30 years, and then now all of a sudden it's bubbling up to the surface? It's like all of a sudden it's just flash boiled.
I think it's because it's finally coming to that boiling point. Like the pot started back then.
Mm-hmm.
That's when the pot got put on the gas and was starting to get cooked. And because of that, because it's become an influence, and people who were kids going through school and academia and learning these things back then in college or whatever, they've become grandparents by this point. And so they train their kids all this stuff.
Right.
And then their kids have trained their kids. And so it's just had this descending effect on all these people. And it's become so normalized that we have a whole bunch of, gay and transgender parents that are adopting and teaching. And so it's become extremely acceptable in life now. And it's become normal. It's been completely normalized.
Yeah.
And so that's why they're trying to normalize it more.
Do
than
you
it is.
think that they, per se, popped the cap on this too soon?
No, I don't think they popped the cap on it too soon.
Because I was viewing it kind of like this, whereas we were talking about how COVID kind of revealed a whole bunch of stuff that's been going on under the radar, and under the wool has been pulled back.
Yeah.
On a lot of American families, and the way I viewed this whole situation, where all this information has come to light so suddenly, is kind of like, have you ever had an overheating car and they say, don't pop the radiator cap if it's overheating and boiling, but have you done it?
I've never popped the
You've
radiator
never popped.
cap.
I have
No.
popped the radiator cap before, because I'm a mechanic, and also because sometimes I'm stupid. But you can get burned. But what happens is you get that overheated car, right? That overheated car engine, and it is super hot. It's well over 212 degrees. It's probably pushing 250. So it's boiling, but it's not boiling because it's under pressure. If you pop that cap, it'll flash boil.
Yeah.
And it'll blow the cap off. I've seen them blow off over 10 feet into the air. And so I feel like that's what's happened, is someone with this COVID thing, I feel like someone popped the radiator cap with an overheating engine, and no one was supposed to know
Oh, yeah, exactly.
about the overheating engine.
I agree with that. And the overheating engine was the schools.
Yep.
And the cap got popped because parents were seeing what their kids were being taught in schools.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have, the whole Libs of TikTok account was built off this. this thing because you have all these